Graham?
Thank you. Ms. Swear, let's revisit, is it the Rahimi case? Is that the right name?
Yes, sir, I believe so.
Okay. Let's see what is the most compelling thing to learn from that case. How many times was this gentleman involved with shooting at people?
I'm not sure in total, but it seems like at least 6 or 7.
Okay, and he was released based on what charge? He was facing a charge and released?
The first time he was facing at least one felony domestic violence charge and at 2 others. I'm not sure whether they were misdemeanors or felonies under Texas law.
Okay. Is it pretty fair to say that this guy should not have been out on the streets?
Absolutely not. He was very clearly a danger to both specific individuals and the public at large.
Mr. Manguel, is this a common problem where our criminal justice system has a revolving door when it comes to people who are exhibiting violent behavior?
It most certainly is a common problem, and one that is a long-standing problem as well. I mean, one of the statistics I didn't get a chance to get to was that between 1990 and 2002, the Bureau of Justice Statistics reported that over a third of individuals convicted of violent felonies were either out on probation, parole, or pretrial release at the time of those offenses. As our criminal justice system has gotten softer, that problem's only gotten bigger.
So when you look at what America is facing, would you agree with me the best thing we could do as a nation is to make sure that our parole laws and our attitude toward violent criminals is changed so that they are not out hurting people, they stay in jail?
I think that's exactly right. I mean, one of the biggest challenges that we currently face, as evidenced by the data on the role that repeat offenders play in serious gun violence, is that we are systematically failing to draw and enforce a line as to how much repeated criminal conduct we are willing to accept and tolerate.
Well, if your proposition is true, America would be responding in a certain way. Do you realize, Ms. Swear, that from 1991 to 2019, the number of guns in America number of weapons owned by Americans has doubled?
I am aware of that, yes, Senator.
Do you are aware of the fact the number of concealed carry permits have increased by 7-fold?
I know it has increased exponentially. I will take you at your word that it's roughly 7-fold.
Are you aware that between 2019 and 2020, 58% increase in gun purchases by African Americans, 43% increase by Asians, 46% increase in purchases by Latino Americans, 40% of those purchases are made by first-time gun buyers? Are you aware that from 2005 to 2020, a 77% increase in gun ownership by women, and that from 2019 to 2020, a majority of people buying guns were women? Are you aware of all that?
Yes, Senator, I am.
Why do you think that's going on?
It's because there are a lot of Americans, specifically, as you mentioned, women and ethnic minorities, who, a lot of them for the first time in their lives, beginning in the last couple of years, looked around at the state of reality in this country with sort of widespread and issues with policing, with...
Well, let's just stop there for a moment. Mr. Lindley, you've been a police officer. Thank you for your service. How's morale among police in America, generally speaking?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I think overall, morale is decreasing.
Yeah, and there are probably a lot of reasons for that, but it's harder to get people into law enforcement now, and I'd like to work with people to try to change that. Mr. Rubin, do you agree with the Heller decision that interpreted the Second Amendment to be an individual right? Was that a good legal decision?
Yes, sir.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Glenn, your experience was terrible. Your husband, former husband, had been charged with armed robbery. Had he been convicted of armed robbery, or I don't know, make sure I got
Yes, many years before the incident, yes.
Okay, and he had actually been charged with kidnapping you too.
Yes.
Before the shooting.
Months before the incident.
Yeah. So I guess here's my point. Senator Cornyn has shown the way to work on responsible gun ownership limitations. I don't think there's anything in this case that says common sense doesn't prevail. But this Bruin case and Heller case are important in my view. Mr. Chairman, it reinforced the idea that the Second Amendment is there for individuals and that individuals have a right to defend themselves in a responsible way, even outside their home. So what I would hope this committee could do is end, to the extent possible, the revolving door policies that allow people time and time again to come back out on the streets, hurt their fellow citizens. In this situation, I would just add in conclusion, the reason so many people are buying guns is because they've lost faith in their government to protect them.